Oh, bruh, I got to change this thing back. Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Lockout. What a start to the show. Also, guys, before we want to jump into the show, this is a MA 15 plus show. Do expect a little bit of swearing and a highly emotional Brody Blake that I bring on every week. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what do you mean highly emotional? I'm well intact with my emotions.
No. So shout out to Chris if he jumps back in again the stream. Again, you're going to expect a little bit of swear words because it's Supercoach and it gets us emotional and we'll say some things. But thank you so much, everyone in the chat. Josh Hill, what's going on? Tarns, good to see you there. Eshk, what's happening, bro? I'm just going to quickly.
I'm just going to mute the back chair. Give me a second. We're off to a flyer today, boys.
We're off for a flyer. We've been running around. I've been trying to fix my other computer because I want to show you guys what's going on with Supercoach and stuff. But unfortunately, it wasn't playing. Well, it's actually played well now. So hopefully it goes well. We'll soon see.
I'm just trying to find the live so I can watch us live. All right, here we go.
Oh, well, I hope you guys have had a great weekend of Supercoach and that. And also do apologize. As you know, we weren't here last week. But we are here this week, so we're going to go through our way our teams played over the weekend. We're going to go through the top performers over the weekend. As always, we're going to go through our trades, that sort of stuff, so you guys get to see where we're placed. And then at the end of the show, we're going to do some overs and unders and check out some of your questions that you've got in the chat. So, guys, this is a live show. As always, make sure you chuck your thoughts in the chat. And I will bring them up and we'll have a discussion today. We're only on for, an hour and a half and that, but make sure we'll use that time sparingly. So.
You mean an hour?
Well, an hour. Sorry. An hour. Sorry, guys.
Ash will deliver the goods for you guys. Whatever you guys want, throw the chat out there. We'll be here all night.
No, I hope you guys do enjoy the show as well. All right, brother. Let's may as well start off the show. The top scorers of the week. This is an absolute banger of a show, I can really tell, but I'm sure people love just a off-the-cuff sort of chat that we're bringing to the show. But let's go through the top scorers of the weekend. So, you're going to love to see this. The top scorer that we have here over the week, Jacob Preston, brother. 122. Not surprised, man. What an incredible performance from Jacob Preston. Hopefully he continues on that form for your doggies. And we'll go through some more overs and unders later on in the show, but your thoughts on Jacob Preston there, 122, obviously a major score there. Do you think that he can get around about those numbers, around the 100 number, maybe come against the Newcastle Knights this weekend?
Oh, potential, yeah. We love that left edge, and that's where Kikau was scoring really well, and now he's moved over there. So, yeah, potentially, I don't think he'll get that again, but, man, why not? I don't see why he wouldn't. Bailey Hayward's found some good form, and Presto will just play off the back of that.
And let's move on to Jamat Shibasaki with 116 points. Incredible performance for him. He would be raising a lot of cash for all our super coaches out there. I know a lot of everyone that jumps into the chat, they all have Shibasaki. Majority of them do. Shout out to Jack Cole, the big 105 against the Rabbitohs last week. A really good score there.
2 weeks in a row. He's cracked good numbers. Old Jack Cole in a losing squad as well. And you better say hello to Hosea in the chat. He's a little bit salty. We might start calling him Chris.
Shout out Hosea. No, he's just obviously the whole thing going on the Levels podcast and stuff. But shout out to the Levels podcast. I completely kind of understand where Justin Horro is coming out from. You probably don't know too much about what's going on there, but
what's going on there?
Basically, so this is away from Supercoach chat, guys, but so Justin Horro had a lot of Warriors fans on the last video that they had after, reviewing the weekend's games, all saying that they don't give us enough credit, this and that. You probably see it quite a bit and in general around the league. And just because we got a really loud fan base online, he just pretty much said that he's had enough of it. And for that week in general, he's stopped doing the comments sort of section in his show, which, to be honest, I see it a lot around social media as well. As I said into the WhatsApp chat that we touch on in the EPL, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I know what it's like to be around a fan base that's that loud, that's always in comment sections, because Arsenal's just like that in the EPL as well, and sometimes it can get overbearing, and sometimes it's so ill-informed. So but yeah, as I said, they've got a massive platform as well, so I'm sure the comments are probably triple what we probably get anyway.
Gotcha.
But yeah. Moving over, we got Jack Cole. We just discussed that 105, but then we got Bronson Sherry, your center, with a 99. Incredible performance there against the against the Sharkies. Jake Clifford with a 99. Thomas Dearden with a 97. Fanor Bole with a 96. Terrell May with a 92. Great two front rollers there for the Tigers, and even Fanor Bole with the front row, second row, averaging 56. Not too bad to start the season there for the young bloke. Joseph Tarpanay and Lehigh Hopoate fill out our top 10 of the weekend, brother. Who was your biggest surprise scorer that you had for top scorer of the weekend, you reckon?
Probably Clifford, to be honest, Bo. Clifford and Jack Cole. Shibasaki had a good round one and he's been quiet since, but, he's an outside back. You can expect these scores. But, yeah, probably Clifford, Jack Cole, especially in the struggling squads. Really good performances from those guys.
100%, bro, 100%. I think that Clifford was incredible there with a 99. I think he has this ability due to his kicking game and stuff like that. He scores a couple of tries like he did over the weekend. So 2 tries end up getting him that score. From memory, he scored 2 tries in that game.
He did, yes.
Well done for him. Fanor Bole, I think the 96 is incredible there too.
72 minutes in a try, so expected, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also Jack Cole with 105. Shout out to Jack Cole.
Only
great things.
3 guys this week over the 100 mark. I think round 1 there was like 6, 8.
Yeah, I think there's someone's been counting it. I think there was actually close to like 10, 11.
Yeah, I did see a post. I don't know which post it was though. I get a lot of suggested Instagram posts on Supercoach these days. And yeah, there was a running count of 100 scores for the weeks.
Oh, bro, crazy. For some reason your camera is like dipping out a little bit in the quality. I don't know what's going on there.
Maybe it's my light next to it. Ugh.
Maybe.
Nope, that shit all.
Not too sure what's going on there.
We won't worry about that for now.
No, you're just gonna have to deal with pixelated Brody for a little bit there, guys. Maybe the internet will pick it up and we'll be.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll turn the internet off my phone. I think
could be for sure. All good. All right, moving over, guys, to our team performances over the weekend. So I'm going to jump over to my team to start off with. I'm just going to find the list here, the game day, where we're at round 4. Let's move over to the Wise Up TV League. You're in the Wise Up TV League, aren't you, bro?
Yeah, bro. Yep.
All right. Or we'll just go down unders. We're pretty similar base, so we'll chuck it up that way, right? Where you at? Balake. There we go. All right. We'll chuck it up. So sorry, guys. This stream's definitely not going to plan, but it is just going to be the way it is at the moment. Anyway, moving over to both our scores over the weekend. Me and Brody both nearly going the exact same score over the weekend. 114 for my boys, 1,013 for Brody's squad. Moving over to some of the scorers that we have here. Nafahu White with 75 for my squad. Harry Grant with a nice 70. Cam Munster with a 57. Shout out to Harry Grant too, getting a 70 for the first time in a little while. So that's really, really good to see him kicking back into gear. Ola Kawatu with a 62. Tom Trbojevic with a 48. Obviously with the injury, we'll touch on that maybe a little bit further in the future with the trades. Luke Metcalf as well with a 57. So those are the different players that we have. Moving over to the rest of my team here that scored. Tino Fasul Malaawi with the 77. Sanders Smith with the 57. I've been loving what Sanders Smith's been doing for me to start the season as a cheapie as well, hey, brother? Yeah,
he's been performing well with that dual cheapie for sure.
100%. Shibasaki with the 116. We love to see that. I did play him this week, so great to see that. Same to Brody over here. Payne House with the 82. Jesse Arthurs. Clint Gufferson, that I thought was going to have a cracker of a score in this one because I noticed him everywhere. Unfortunately, didn't pick up a lot of the Supercoach scores this weekend, but hopefully that changes come this weekend coming. Tamale, Horsburgh, Hines, Yongi all scoring. Hines scoring fairly well. Yongi with a 35 and Terrell May with a 92. A really good job there. But moving over to Brody's squad, played Robert Toya this weekend, bro. Only busted out a 45. Couple of things I want to discuss with Robert Toya too coming into this weekend. Are you worried that maybe Billy Smith will come in and nick his role sometime soon?
I'm not too worried. He was only reserve on the weekend because I was a little bit short in that back line while I was getting some trades under control. And I thought he would have had a better weekend than he did. But going forward, like if he gets traded out, he's made me the cash that I wanted him to make. yeah, and he'll get traded on as soon as he's not selected. But yeah, Billy Smith is a talking point for sure.
100%. 100%. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know either. My camera's full deacon out.
Moving over, Paddy Carrigan with a 62 points, brother. A really good score there from old Paddy, holding up his end of the bargain there. You probably would have loved to see him go 70s or 80s. Obviously, with Payne Haas next to him going absolutely bonkers. It's crazy that he's holding up some Supercoach scores, but he's had an incredible start to the season as well.
Yeah, Paddy, you kind of know what you're going to get there, and the duels, what's really holding on to Paddy there. I think you'll serve me well right up to Origin time.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Matty Nicholson, a guy that's going to be making a lot of cash for you there with 45. You know, you continue to hold because he will be a cash maker. Blake Brayley only getting a 44. Obviously a tough game against your Dogs, so you won't really hold that against him. But you know,
no, he's had a couple of poor performances the last couple of weeks. Actually, I don't know what's going on there. He's playing the 80. I haven't really watched too much of him to see what's going on.
Yeah, very, very interesting. We'll have to continue to wait out and see. What is he sitting at price rise? 507k. He's dropped about 12k by the looks of it. So he definitely will want to be fixing up those areas. I'm not too sure if your camera's in that sort of sense, bro. I think it's just more connection type issue. I'm not too sure what's happening there.
Fucking dog shit.
We did tell you MA 15 plus, baby. Moving over to Lockie Galvin there with the 57. I would have thought Lockie Galvin would have had so much more of a score there over the weekend against my Warriors.
Yeah, I think he's getting fucking handicapped on Supercoach points for sure because, I don't know, you see him and he's in everything. As we touched on, they should provide line break assists for like chips over the top and shit like that. You know, it's a try assist if they score off a kick, so why not a line break assist?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I'm pretty sure he was the one that put the grubber in for Artape try in that. So I think he had a try assist in this game. He did line break assist with the safe offs line break. We should have anyway. There's a couple of big moments that he had in that game, so it was really interesting at 57, especially the amount of times he touched the ball. He would have ran the ball fairly well as well. So very interesting score there.
You'd think so, but I think maybe they just don't like him on Supercoach.
It's possibly right. It's possibly right. And obviously the other scorers that you've had consistent with mine here. Tino Fasul Malawi would just touch on quickly here. You know, back-to-back really great scores. Well, pretty much all three great scores coming start of the year. When we're looking at front rowers, like, you know, your Payne Haas's, Terrell Mays, you'd have Tino up there for sure at the moment. It does look like a season hold for you at the moment.
Who was that? Sorry, brother.
Tino Fasul Malawi.
Oh, yeah, season hold for sure. Origin might be a little bit of a down period there, but yeah, other than that, he's Supercoach gun. Been preaching that since day one.
100%. Jose said, maybe your camera is playing up because you got your shirt on.
Hey, maybe. You could be right. We don't want to make it go R18 for this show, though.
100%, bro. 100%. All right, moving over. We're going to touch on my team here. Actually, no, we'll go through some of the leagues that we have, the Down Unders League. So we'll go through some of those guys, and then we'll touch on our leagues, our trades, stuff like that, right?
Ooh, Josh, yeah, I like that. Joshy, I reckon bring in Hopewadi, man, with the move to fullback, especially this week, because Sharpie won't do shit against the Dogs.
Yeah, well, Brady's very confident about his doggies. Not too confident about his camera right now, but he's very confident.
Nah, I don't know what's going on there. We'll leave that.
Stacey Johnson up the top of the competition. Tim, well done at the moment, brother, in the Down Unders League. 1,196 he ended up scoring over the weekend. So differential players that he had comparatively to our sides. Keon Kaloma-Tungi there with an 85. Obviously, a couple of tries against the Penrith Panthers. Can you see Keon holding this type of standard from the start of the season? I have to check some of his other stats.
I don't know, because to get 85 and scoring a double is not that good, in my opinion.
His start of the season, Supercoach-wise, hasn't been incredible. 65, 33, 49, and 85.
And I see why he selected him, because Keon last year and year before was 100 games. Or not last year, the year before, though.
Yeah, majority of that playing in the middle, he got a lot of good base stats, but even then on the right, he had a lot of really solid games, and he looks fit and ready to go this year. But a good little pickup there, 85 points. You'd love to see it. He went with a Jamie Humphries, so obviously he's still building cash for certain players like him. Jamie Humphries, 36, unfortunately, but Still scoring fairly well to start the season. He was. Corey Pakes with the 64 over the weekend. Really good little score there from him.
Yeah, Corey Pakes has been a gun. Nice try again on the weekend. So making cash, scoring well as well while doing it. So yeah, I'm regretting kind of not going with the two cheap hook options because there's been some guns that are providing really good scores and they were bottom dollar cheapies. But you live and you learn.
100%, bro. 100%. Ryan Papenhausen there. Xavier Savage with the 63. Could have been even more if you got the try assist to end that game to win the game for the Canberra Raiders there.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
a bit of a
hold
bomb
on
there.
to the pass. Yeah, a bit of a bomb there, but 63 points. Well done there with one try. I'm pretty sure he had the attacking the bomb. So
yeah,
62 points with a try.
Yeah.
Connor Tracy with a 62. He's had a really solid start to his Supercoach season. I remember his first score was incredible with a 90. Then got 63, 53, and 62, like consistently holding around that 50 to 60 range. But he had that big outlier 90 at the moment. So obviously going up against Newcastle Knights this weekend, you probably wouldn't expect anything different from Connor Tracy. He's just going to base a ton of stats and then against the attacking ones.
I feel like he gets hard done by a little bit on Supercoach. But yeah, it's just all base unless he can snag a try assist or a support play try. That's about really all there. But you know what you're going to get? You're going to get that 50 plus every time with him.
Yeah, Ruben Garrick with the 61 as well. We won't touch on too much of Ruben Garrick because he completely failed on me a couple of weekends ago. So
big drop since last week, though. He dropped to nearly 100 points.
100%. Yeah, crazy. One-Eyed Warriors in the second place position. Well done with a round 4 score of 1,222. One of the biggest scores, I think, in our league over the weekend. So shout out to Jade. Sitting here, the couple of differential players that she has in the side. Reece Walsh with the 56, holding Reece Walsh by, I think, Jade. Well, I think she would if she picked him to start. Be interested to see how she feels about him this weekend. He should have a blinder, hopefully. Other players here, Jacob Preston, Jade. Really good pickup there.
Yeah, really good pickup.
And Captain Payne Haas as well, which is definitely a really smart move for guys like me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a bit of a rough weekend for captaincy. I guess it was probably a week to just go with a Ford.
Barber Black Sheep, what a name! I don't think I've seen this one yet, but Ben Barber Black Sheep.
Who is it? Is Riley?
It's Riley. I don't know if this is our Riley. This is a different Riley, I reckon.
I hope not.
Shout out Riley if you're in the chat, brother. Jump in, but very creative name. I don't know if people are going to take it any different way, but yeah, it's very creative. Ola Kawatu with the 124, obviously scoring 62. Him and a captain. Interesting little move there, but still scored fairly well. Well, 1,129, better than what I scored over the weekend. So got Jaden Campbell in his side, Bo Fermor. Some decent little scorers there with the Titans getting a nice win.
Yeah, a lot of familiar players. You can see, obviously, all the common players there. A lot of guys have their hand in the same pie, I guess, and that's always going to happen early. That's why it takes a good 2 months to sort out the boys from the men in Supercoach.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone's in that cash building phase, and so they're going to have very similar players in that sort of sense, and you're going to have the same sort of like big ones that you have. Last two that we'll go through with the top 5 that we have to start in a down unders league. 1,151 for Mongrel with Kerwin. Shout out to Kerwin. Differential players that he has. He captained Cam Munster this weekend. Cam Munster scoring a 57, getting a double there for 114. He would have probably loved to see a little bit better there. But other than that, Alex Seyfarth with an 81, who had a solid knockout against the New Zealand Warriors.
Yeah, look, looking at it, I captained Munster as well, and I didn't score more than you, so I must have had some other guys that really underperformed because this dude outscored you by, 36?
Yeah.
37. So he must have a better squad than I do. We captained the same guy.
Shout out to Mongrel. And I was going to say, do I even try to say that? Eli Minotaur. All right. Shout out to Liam with a major tongue twister. Oh, he's got Liam in there. I think we discussed this before.
Oh, yeah. I think he was pretty high last week.
Yeah. Shout out to him always being up top of our competition by the looks of it. Differential players that he has. Jacob Preston with 122. I think that's going to be the big differential a lot of players do have. Tom Gilbert with the 54. Yeah. I think Gilbert's out with suspension as well. So unfortunately, he'll be probably moving him on by the looks of it. So now let's see Wong as well.
Fuck. A lot of the same again. Seeing a
So
trend.
yeah, seeing the trend. Yeah, I think we're in a good little boat here. But shout out to the Down Unders League, guys. If you want to jump in, that's the league code right there at the top. Shout out to all these really top performers here. Jose with the Chama sitting in 7th. I see you there in the chat, Jose. So shout out to you. Actually, I want to quickly check what Jose's squad look like here. Jack Jazeski, Eli Qatar. He's got Eli Qatar.
Yeah, nice. A lot of money, good spent there. So the top scorer so far is nearly 5,000, so 49999. What's the bottom? Like, I just want to kind of see the difference. So top is 499. Okay, fuck, someone's down in the 3.5s. All right.
Yeah. Shout out to RP Prime Time with 816 points. Unfortunately,
I feel like he maybe made a team and then has left it. Right.
Well, as we kind of touched on before, a lot of the common players here, he's only got 3 common to what we have really there.
Yeah.
A lot of differential players here. So Jerome Luai, who started the season pretty poorly, Supercoach wise, with 19 points. I think, with the seasons, he's only gone 54 the first game, then went 19, 20, 19. Definitely see that. And he's hemorrhaging cash. He's down 153 from his starting price.
Jesus. All right.
Jack Bird with the 35. Not sure what Jack Bird has been doing at the start of the season, but 34, 30, 27, 35. So for a guy that I was looking at to have in my squad, I'm pretty happy I didn't go that way.
100%. I was the same as you, bro. But yeah, not a lot of points there between everybody. 5,000 on top and bottom is 3,500. But that top 15 looked like they were on about 3, 4, 7, 4, 5. So not a lot difference between the top and the bottom, but those guys that are holding the top and branched ahead of everyone, it's going to be a massive gap to close.
All right, moving over to my squad of the weekend. Also, guys, after the weekend I just had, I'm just going to jump onto my Supercoach to see my rank.
If I quit out of this live, bro, and join back in.
Yep, it should. Hopefully it'll clear it up. If jump out, bro, and I'll add you back in soon.
All right.
All right, so we'll get to see Brodie very shortly, guys. He is just dropping out due to his camera issues. But right now, my season rank, unfortunately, is 33,718. I dropped considerably after 2 pretty poor weeks in Supercoach. My last week, I captained Kalen Ponga, obviously a couple of weeks ago, and then last weekend I captained Tom Trebojevic. So 2 bad captaincies. I had a couple of poor scoring weeks there. I got 1,000 a couple of weeks ago, and then 1,114. So that kind of dropped me out of my Supercoach score. Brodie is back here, so we're going to try and get him back in here, and hopefully it all looks great. Joshua Hill over here talking some smack. All right, paste. All right, should be coming in. How you looking? You're pretty much poor. Oh, there we go.
It's still shit.
I'm not too sure. I don't think we're going to be able to fix that.
Yeah, well.
Unfortunately, guys, you're just going to have to hear Brodie and unfortunately see a very pixelated version of the boy next to us. We'll definitely figure out all these little technical difficulties in the next show too, guys. We do apologize for that. Not the greatest show that we've been putting on today, but yeah, at the moment, 33,000. I was sitting 15,000 a couple of weeks ago, and I just blew all the way out to 33. So got a little bit of work to do to get back there. Shout out to Lockie here too. Still looking hot though, Brodie, he reckons.
Hey, of course. Thank you, my bro. Love it.
But we'll move straight over to my team for the weekend. So my trades this week, I went fairly big. So I brought in Tom Jenkins. I traded out Jesse Arthurs. I was conflicted whether I go Jesse Arthurs or Robert Toya to trade in Tom Jenkins. But with the big price rise of Jesse Arthurs with 502, I reckon when I cashed out that 215, it helped me get a couple of guns here into my lineup. My next little trade here, I went Ryan Papenhausen out in for Iongi. I just think that Iongi at the moment, for me, I'm just not willing to continue that slow burn. If I can get a gun in to get me back up ranks, That's the way I'm going to play it. So Ryan Papenhuyzen should get goal kicking back this week. I'm so excited to see what score he can come out with. And my last trade, obviously, Tom Trbojevic. The big injury off the weekend. Unfortunately, that man just cannot, keep away from the hospital bed. So hopefully he can get back into good form and keep his injuries in check. But Jaden Campbell comes into my side for him. I've got a little bit of a way I'm going to work things out, and I will discuss that a little bit more. But those trades there, bro, what are you thinking?
Yeah, nice. I don't know, maybe a little bit desperate. Nah, just kidding, bro.
A little bit,
Nah.
a little bit. A little bit.
I think they're very smart moves. You're pretty high on Jaden Campbell, and I think there's good reason there. We're both pretty desperate to get Ryan Papenhuyzen in.
Yep.
And yeah, Tom Jenkins is a no-brainer this week with the money he's going to pull in after the lockout is finished this weekend. And Jesse Arthur's now tipping into that 520K range. Smart to trade him out. I think he will start to be on the downward trend of cash, especially if he doesn't score a try every week. So smart, very smart moves, bro.
So my whole thought process on this, guys, and the way I'm thinking is more of a little bit long-term, right? So Jaden Campbell will end up becoming in my 6th jersey. Luke Metcalf will probably leave my team after this bye period. So he'll go for this bye next week. I'm probably going to trade him out, push Jaden Campbell up to that 6th role. And to see who's going to make a little bit of cash, I'm going to drop into a flex and turn into a gun fullback. So that's the way I'm kind of thinking about how I'm going to run with things. Obviously, Jenkins should go up a bit of money as well. I've got different players like Shibasaki might make a little bit more money where I can change him out and try and get another gun fullback in. Looking at players like Reece Walsh that are sort of bottoming out at the moment price-wise, that has the ability to get me back up to a Kalen Ponga or something like that in the future. So I have to wait and see how that plays out. But that's really where my thought process is with Jaden Campbell. I think he can be a season-long 5'8" keeper. I was talking to Brody before this. He's got a lot of that Nico Hines type of mold to him, right? Where a player that's so flowy, he always has his hands on the ball. He's got that fullback ability to him, right? But playing in 7, he's got the goal kicking as well. That definitely helps. He's a high attacking upside player. And I think that in Supercoach, it bodes fairly well. So I'm really excited to have him in my side.
Yeah, I think it's a very smart move, brother. Especially, looking to trade him over someone like Metcalf, who, the Warriors never score a lot of points. They're winning those tight games, whereas, the Titans can put on a weekend where they run in some tries, and it's 9 times out of 10 going to be off the back of Jaden Campbell. So very smart move.
Yep, 100%, bro. So running to this weekend, guys, I am having Jaden Campbell in my flex, Ryan Papenhuyzen in my fullback, and Clint Gutherson in my reserves. I might make a late switch and put Clint Gutherson into my fullback this weekend, depending on how I feel, and probably maybe put the captaincy on him because he's a little bit later on, and vice captain, another player that I've got vice captain. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm still trying to figure out my thought process on that. My center wings here, Greg Marju, Adam Dewey, Shibasaki, and Tamale. Adam Dewey is back this week by the looks of it, but could be a late out. So that is going to be a game time decision. So I'll have to wait and see. But I've got Jenkins, Toya, and Purdue there. But I will have to just try and keep an eye out on what's going on before I make any sort of moves there.
Well, the Tigers play what, Saturday?
Yes. So
yeah, well, you got the Panthers playing tomorrow night.
So Jenkins might come in a little bit earlier, but yeah, true.
And so is Toya. So you will be left with Purdue. So you want to hope they drop that news really soon. But I did see that Dewey is keen to come out and play against Madge. So he's ruling himself in. So we'll see if he's in or not.
Even the Cowboys play on a Friday night, bro. So my plan there, I'm just going to have to run with Dewey and see how it plays. I
think you should go Jenkins, brother.
Yeah, you reckon go Jenkins?
But hey, it's your call, bro. It's your team. But even if Dewey does play, I don't know how well he'll score against the Broncos, who I think are going to have a really good performance.
You might have twisted my leg there, bro. I might do some changes when we jump off a stream. Moving over here to my 5'8", I got Cam Munster. Obviously, Luke Metcalf is on the bye. My halfbacks here being Nathan Cleary and Nico Hines, the 2 guns there. Hopefully they fire. Nathan Cleary's got my vice captaincy at the moment. Because I'm expecting a big weekend out of him. We'll touch on Brodie's team. He's gone a bit more forward with his captaincy options there, getting it out there. But Ola Kawatu, Nafahu White, and Corey Horsburgh playing in my second rows. No reserves sitting in my second row at the moment. Sitting in my front row, Payne Haas with the captaincy. I had him on there at the moment because he's consistently getting up to those 80s and 90s. So I'm knowing that it's not like, barely any risk. If Nathan Cleary doesn't fire, I'm going to get someone that's going to get an 80 at least. So that probably saves my weekend. But then again, as I said before, I have had second thoughts whether I go Clint Gutherson on the captain just in case.
I think Gutho will be in it for a big weekend against the Eels. I really do.
Yeah, so that might be my little play there. So that could definitely change coming into this weekend too, guys. Terrell May there. Tino Fa'asul Mala'awi with the reserve. Harry Grant is my hooker. And Sandon Smith is sitting on my reserves at the moment as well. Lockie Hubner is back into the lineup for the Rabbitohs. I'm not sure if I want to go him this week with the Roosters, but definitely could be an option as well.
Yeah, Hubner. Oh, over the guys you've got, bro, I reckon stick to the guys you've got.
Yeah, I'm definitely running down that track.
I think just hold him, bro, for the cash that he's going to make after this weekend.
Might just do the Gutho to Papenhuyzen switch. And as I said, guys, I might, at the moment, I'll leave it as is. But I am thinking about putting a captaincy on Clint Gutherson. And then just seeing how Nathan Cleary goes with the vice captain if I'm going to do a loop. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Gutho back at Combank, brother. He'll be in for a big one.
Against his old side, bro, I'm sure he's going to really want to knock it out of the park. And the amount of Supercoach points that Supercoach were giving him earlier, I'm expecting a big one from him.
Jose, I don't think it's too much of a risk, brother. Hubner will score a good 40 at least. Well, he'll base at least 40.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, he pretty much was like close to basing earlier on at 35 to 40. So I'm sure
Joshua Hill loves the chat. If you bring in Sharp, brother, especially this week, you're going to regret it.
Hey, he's hey, with your doggies, bro.
I'm serious.
Brody, you are right now 37,000th ranked in Supercoach. You made a good uptick this weekend after probably, I guess, a couple of weekends there, similar to me. Not the greatest scores in the world, but good scores. Moving over to your team here. Gonna do your trades. So at the moment, bro, these are your trades that you're running with. Are you pretty certain stone this is what you're gonna do?
I changed it again today because I was gonna just go for the two cheapies, but I've rethought it, and yes, I think that's what I'm gonna stick with now.
100%. So Tom Jenkins in for Jesse Arthurs. Jesse Arthurs traded out. Reece Walsh is in now, and Isaiah Iongi is traded out as well. Discuss your thoughts around this trade.
Yeah, well, Jenkins was a no-brainer for me, and Arthurs was the man I was targeting to trade out, just the money difference there and what Jenkins is going to make me next week. And the other thing I did have there was I just had Casey McLean out for Jalen DeGroot, but I've since swapped that. That would have left me with 500K cash for a big play next week, but I just really like what Walsh is sitting at price-wise. And, there's been a lot of critics on him at the moment the last 2 weeks, and I'm just waiting for him to explode. And I think this week against an understrength Tigers team, I'm going to call them, in Brisbane, should be a dry surface. I think Reece Walsh will have a blinder this week and start to uptick in that cash.
Yeah, I like it, bro. I really do like it. He's definitely a player that looks like he's bottoming out at the moment. And he should shoot up in cash very, very shortly with a good weekend this weekend against the Tigers, if that is to be the case. Moving to your side this weekend, Clint Gutherson there in your flex position with your vice captaincy. So as we spoke about before, you were thinking about that, but I know we'll touch on a little bit later. You got a guy playing earlier football that you want captain. Caleb Bonga, their fullback, and Reece Walsh sitting in the reserves. I love that option.
Yeah, got the 3 gun fullbacks, and I couldn't quite afford Pappy either, so that's why it's Walsh. But in a few weeks, I also don't know how Pappy's going to score this week against Manly. I think that they'll come out and they'll dust Manly pretty comfortably, but I'm going to go with Walsh, who's got more upside for me this week, and then look to potentially trade him out in the next coming weeks for someone like Pappy. That way I don't need to worry about Origin either. So, but yeah, happy with that back 3 there for sure.
Yeah, love it, bro. Love it. Your wing centers here, Greg Marju, Jermaine Osako, Casey McLean, and Shibasaki. On your bench, you got Tamale, Toya, and Jenkins. Are you thinking about subbing any of these guys in before the weekend, or is this what you're going to be set in stone?
No, I think that's what I'm going to run with. Shibasaki, it'd be rude not to go with him again this week after the performance he put in last week. Asako's been dipping a fair bit for me, but I expect a big game from him on the weekend. I've seen a stat that it hasn't been 3 games in a row for 4 years where he hasn't scored a try. So he's been on a 2-week drought now. So this week I expect him to score a try, hopefully get a bit more ball and score well. And then Case McLean comes back in for a Brian Toto, and I just think he'll be on the end of a couple of tries on that wing.
If we said last year there's going to be a game of the Titans versus the Dolphins, you'd probably think high-scoring game that you're going to see tries scored left, right, and center. Coming 100%. To this year, you're hoping the same sort of case, but I think the Titans have tightened up defensively fairly well. And the Dolphins have looked static sometimes in their attack. Are you worried that it could continue to go that way for Jermaine Asako, or are you just really leaning into that stat of, Jermaine Asako is going to click in a gear sometime? Why not this week? Like the Gold Coast Titans, they have been susceptible defensively at times. Like, he should crash over.
I think with the Titans, with the inexperience with Tony Francis this week, I think we'll see Asako bounce back. And he's lost me a bit of cash now where I know that Asako is such a good Supercoach player. He will bounce back. I'll probably give him another week, maybe 2, to turn it around. And I think the Dolphins footy's going to start getting desperate. And they'll be getting grilled at training. So I dare say we'll start seeing some points out of the Dolphins come pretty thick and fast.
Yeah, 100%, bro, 100%. Moving over to your 5'8", and you got some gun spine members here. Clint Gutherson, Lockie Galvin, Nathan Cleary on a captain.
You mean Cam Munster, bro?
Cam Munster, sorry, Cam Munster. Who did I say?
Clint Gutherson. You're loving him, mate. He's in your head.
Shout out Gutho, man. He's in my head. He's in my mind all the time, baby. Clint Gutherson.
He nearly did it again.
Munster. I did it again. Kent Munster sitting there, but Lockie Galvin, a lot of cash sitting there, but a lot of points that you could be scoring coming into this weekend.
Yeah, look, I'd love to score 400 points there alone, or 500 points there alone with a double on Cleary, and 100 all around for these guys. But we'll see. Hopefully Cam Munster gets some bonus points for talking shit to Cherry Evans, because I heard that he's going to give him a lot of shit. Did you see that video? I hope so. Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, no. Munster's come out and said that he's already started DMing Cherry Evans saying, bro, they don't want you. And he said during the game, he's going to start giving him shit oh, are you playing bench next week? He's just starting to feed him that Manly don't want him. So I'm hoping he doesn't get sin bin for shit talk.
It was like that time where Munster came out on with Jonathan Thurston and said to Joey, oh, have you apologized? Have you and your brother apologized to each other?
Yeah.
Right, he's the biggest grub.
He is a grub. That's funny though. I'll give him that.
Love to see it. Just seeing here in the chat, Jose, sitting with thoughts on Dylan Egan. Did you get to see much of the Dragons versus the Melbourne Storm game over the weekend?
No, I didn't. I didn't get to watch any of that. But if he's a cheapie, for sure, especially in that front row spot, there's not too many cheapies available, I noticed when I was looking. So if he's a cheapie, by all means.
Tough player, got an incredible base by the looks of it. Can wait off a week, Jose, in my opinion, because he's got a couple of weeks before his price rise. So you don't have to go on him now, but if you definitely enjoyed the upside that he had over the weekend, played a really solid game over the weekend, you can chuck him in now. But with players like that, I've just considered to wait a little bit so you can see there if there's a consistent role, if any of their minutes change due to any multitude of things. And Gula obviously been suspended for 3 weeks. There's some things that definitely can change. So wait and see, but he definitely could be a play.
100%. Yeah, wait for the 2 weeks, and then if they're named in that 3rd week, you're going to get a price rise at least.
100%. Moving over here. Oh, lastly, just touching on Nathan Cleary as your captain. You went shot straight bang. You want Nathan Cleary as your captain this week?
Yeah. He's going to take it personal that the Panthers have lost 2 in a row now, and he wasn't a part of those games. So he's going to take it very personal that he is at fault for letting his team down. And I expect a really big performance out of Nathan Cleary this week. And I'm just going to whack the captaincy on him because I don't want to fuck around with trading somebody out to run the vice captain loop. I don't want to stand any of my guns down. I want to go guns blazing this week. So risky, but I'm confident.
I like it, bro. I like it. Peace, love, and happiness. What's your guys' rank at the moment for Supercoach? I didn't bother to change my Supercoach. I left Dylan and people who did not play. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Peace, love, and happiness. So I'm 30,000. So is Brody, around the 30,000 mark at the moment. So we're continuing to grow in. But we had a couple of, well, I had a couple of down weeks there that pushed me out to the 30,000 mark. I think Brody had a couple of poor weeks in a period there.
Yeah, I think everybody had the last 2 weeks being pretty poor, but second team, the doggies for sure.
You could be a doggies fan. Peace, love, and happiness. My second team's the Broncos, so feel free if you want to jump on the Broncos, but it's completely
don't be like Ash, kids.
Don't be like Ash, kids. Moving over to your second rows here, bro. Paddy Carrigan, Tino Fatsul, Malaawi, and we got Matty Nicholson. Pretty decent little second row unit. You're sitting your bench here. Probably doesn't look like anyone that I would change in. But any thoughts there?
Yeah, holding Jack again another week. The Broncos don't even know what they're doing with him at times. So he's just going to sit there, make me some more cash. Next week, I've got a nice little trade. I'm going to trade in to make some more cash on another guy. And hopefully make a bit of cash by trading in Jaseski for him. And then either upgrade Walsh to Pappy or hold Pappy for a couple of weeks and upgrade maybe a Sarko to somebody else. Or Matty Nicholson to somebody else. So, yeah, that's my next week's look. But, yeah, at this stage, none of those guys this week are getting that reserve spot. I'm pretty stacked out for my 17 this week.
100%. Moving over to your front row, Payne Haas, Terrell May, Corey Horsburgh, and Royce Hunt. I've got Tino up there in the front row spot, but not too much different there. All four guns, incredible.
Yeah, bro, happy with that. Royce Hunt's just there at the moment. There's, like I said, there's no funny that's cheap enough that's going to make me some cash. So I'm just leaving him there and not worrying about wasting the trade. I'll never select him though, but it is what it is.
Yep, 100%. And Blake Brayley with the 44 last week. You definitely want to see an uptick in that area going up against the 100%. Raiders very, very shortly. So expecting a big game out of him, right?
Yeah, 100%. He's kind of my set and forget, so I don't need to worry about trading in a hooker around that origin period because he won't be selected. But, yeah, I need to see a bit of an uptick in the score for sure. And I think it will be this week because Canberra love to play through the middle, so he's going to be busy defensively.
Yep. Shout out to Jose too. My rank is 9,094. So in the top 10,000. Shout out to you, Jose. A really good start to the year.
That's a very good start. Are you sure that's accurate? Sure it's not 90,000, bro?
This man, he was up close top of our league too. So he's had a great start to the year.
That's
one thing I didn't check actually is our league ranking overall. But jump into this. You got a ton of leagues here. League. I think that's on my profile there. League ranking 131.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Jose, I think Trendall out is a safe option because he is so inconsistent. Especially when Hines takes a bulk of the work week in, week out. But what are your thoughts there on Braden Trindle?
Yeah, Braden Trindle just never has been a Supercoach player for me that I've looked at and gone, I want to have him on my side. He's got ability. He has those 1 or 2 weeks where he shows off and he's got incredible kicking game. He gets a ton of those try scoring, try assist stats, stuff like that. But with Nico Hines next to him, they kind of, I just think Nico Hines probably gets a little bit more of the bulk of the Supercoach points in that sort of sense. There's been times where Trindle takes away from him. So for me, he's just never really been a Supercoach player.
Yeah, I agree.
Touching on, we're going to do some overs and unders, brother, before we continue to jump into the chat with a couple of the questions before we jump off. 45 minutes and running right now. And guys, again, I do apologize for whatever's happened to start the stream and all that sort of stuff. We have a lot going on just at the moment. So
yeah, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but anyway.
I think just a lot going on right now, bro. It just hasn't gone right, but we're pushing through. We're continuing on, and I think that's all that matters.
Like the rough coat weeks in Supercoach, you just got to get through it.
Got to keep pushing through, baby. Got to keep pushing through. All right. First player that I've got here for over and unders. Lehigh Hopawate. Scored 89 points over the weekend. Now moved to fullback from Tom Trbojevic. He's averaging 64 points this year. Is he going to go over or under 89 points?
Under.
Under against Melbourne at fullback?
Yeah.
All right. We'll lock him into that. I'm going to go...
Are you going to go under or over? You just lock him in.
89. 89. I'm going to go under, but it's probably going to be around the 70 mark. I feel like he's going to get decent scoreage out of his base.
Yeah. He'll have a good week, but I reckon, he'll do well, but not 89.
All right, the next guy here, a guy playing in the exact same game on the opposite side of the field, Ryan Pappenhausen, scored 65 points last week in the wet against the Dragons, scoring a try in that game. Averaging 87.3 points per game this season. Is he going to go over or under against Manly at 4 Pines?
Over.
Ooh, I'm right there with you. I'm hoping so anyway, because I got him in my Supercoach team, so I'm hoping he goes well overs.
I think he will, bro. I think he'll be set for 100 this week.
Goal kicking and everything. I'm definitely but the only thing that does hold me back, Manly at 4 Pines, usually is a lot tougher of a test. But I'm sure Melbourne wanting to bounce back off last week. I think Craig Bellamy will have them up and firing.
Melbourne will be desperate, bro. And Bellamy's probably reamed them. Even though they beat the Panthers, it wasn't a pretty performance. So,
yeah, 100%. Christian Tuipulotu scored 32 points over the weekend against Melbourne Storm. His lowest score of the year. He's averaging 86.3 points per game. Is he going to go over or under this weekend against the Parramatta Eels?
Over. Big time over.
What are you expecting from Tuipulotu? A couple of tries there. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking 80 plus. And yes, Tans, that is correct. They've gone up in price. They just had a price rise.
Yeah, that is right. I'm going over with you as well. I think Gutho is going to be slinging some pill down that sideline. The Parramatta Eels defensively have struggled to start the season. I don't think those woes are going away just anytime soon. So
I don't think so either. I think Tuipulotu has a blinder this weekend, and hopefully it's off the back of Gutho. And Jose, we'll get to your question about Casey McLean after we finish here.
Shortly. Yeah, we only got one more guy to go, and then we'll jump over to the chat. This guy, I think, is going to be very conflicted because there's a lot of different ways this thing can go. Spencer Leniu scored 26 points over the weekend against the Gold Coast Titans. Coming to this weekend against the Rabbitohs, he's averaging 40 points per game this season. The thinking against the Rabbitohs, the head knock stuff that's coming out now, obviously with high tackles and getting Simbin. What are you thinking? Is he going to go over or under 26 Supercoach points this weekend?
Over.
You're going over.
I want to say he gets 35.
He's coming off the bench as well.
Yeah, that's probably more of an upside for him, to be honest.
I will run that with you. I'm only going to risk it to the biscuit. I think there is an opportunity. There's a chance that he could get Simbin.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think coming off the bench is going to be better for his points. I want to give you one. I want to give you a couple.
Yep. Give me a couple. Roll your
one. And I don't have the stats in front of me. I don't know what they scored last week. But I'm going to say Isaiah Iongi, 40 points over under.
Iongi against the Dragons, I will go over. I think that out of everyone with the Parramatta Eels, he's going to show a little bit of potential and want to bounce back at CommBank. I still think the Dragons do well against them and score a lot of points, but I think with Parramatta, they're going to be a little bit up in this game too. So I think Iongi's going to be the main architect to that. So I'm going over 40.
Okay. Jalen de Groot, 50? Okay. Over 40 as well.
Jalen de Groot against the Dolphins. I think he scored 20 last week. So this one's tough because I spoke to you at work about this, right? Like it seems like this Gold Coast side, because they got two predominant fullbacks playing in those spine positions, right? The 7 and that. They don't really get their fullback into the positions that what they got last year with Kieran Foran. But I'm going to go, what did you say, 40?
Yeah, 40.
I will go over. I'll go over. I think that's going to be a dry tack down at Gold Coast. The Dolphins are going to be up for this one as well, but they've shown moments where they can be leaky as well. The Tigers found that out with their game, and they came home strong on them. Then there's going to be points in this game, and I think that Jalen de Groot can nick a try in this one. So I'm going overs.
Cool. I like it. I agree. And I've got two more fullbacks and then one more matchup. And we're going to go Reece Walsh over under 60.
Overs. I think he can get 80 and above. I think a couple of try assists will end up going next to his name.
Yeah, I think he'll score one and get a try assist. So I'm right there with you.
Like it.
A guy that hasn't fired all year, but the hammer, and we're going to set his benchmark at 60 as well.
I'm going unders. I haven't been very impressed with the hammer this season. I do think the Dolphins should go well, and that should really bode for him going very well. I think there's times in Supercoach where the hammer's just been very hot and cold. I think he can get a 30 or a 40 in this game, so I'm going to stick with the under.
I like it. I agree. And I've got a matchup for you. All right. So we're going to go Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan up against Terrell May and Pole. Who's going to score more?
So Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan versus Bole and Terrell May.
So yeah, battle of the engine rooms. Who do you think will get more?
That's a really good one. And while saying that, my computer started playing up. That's a really good one. I'm gonna go with Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan. I think two notable, consistent Supercoach scorers, even though Terrell May's been incredible to start the year. I think that Payne Haas is going to take this thing personal and be like, well, everyone's talking up Terrell May. Like, I'm the first Terrell May. I'm Payne Haas. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm going for a big score in his game. And Paddy Carrigan has been consistently about the 60, 70 mark. I think Fanua Bole has been around that 50s. So I'm going those two.
Do you think it'll be by much? Do you think what do you think Haas and Carrigan will get together? 150?
I think we can see Payne go for 80s and 90s. So we're going to go him. And I think that Paddy can get up to a 70. So, we'll go with that about 150, 160. And then I think with Terrell May, we're probably going to see an 80 next to his name. He's consistently getting up to 80. I just think Fanua Bole will probably drop down to probably a 40 or a 50. So 40.
I agree.
Yeah, after an incredible week last week, there was a couple of circumstances why those boys definitely blew out their minutes due to the injury to Samuel Alafainu that's ended up back in this weekend. Those boys pumped out a lot of minutes, so I think that helped out with the super coach score a little bit too.
And last sneaky one, actually, I've just thought of it. What do you think Latrell Mitchell will go for?
Oh, first week back in the center position.
Goal kicking as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm just trying to think try scoring ability. I'm probably going to go a 60. I think that I'm going to go a 60. I don't think he's going to get a ton of hand on ball in this game. He's going to ease into it, but he might find some success late. Maybe a try assist, maybe a try, but base-wise on the other side of it, not being in fullback and not getting those carries out of the backhand, stuff like that. It's not usually his game anyway. I think about a 60, I'm thinking at the moment. That's what I'm feeling.
All right. I love it. Let's throw that out to the chat as well on Latrell. Give us what you think he'll go for this week. And then we'll get to Josie's question about Casey McLean. What about you? I know you don't have Casey McLean. You traded him out last week with him getting dropped. Now that he's back in, would he be somebody, you probably wouldn't target him again, but if you still had him, would you be keeping him now that Toto's out for that 6 weeks?
Yeah, due to Toto's injury, I'll definitely be keeping him around for a little bit longer of a period. Looking at the two winger options that they have, they've got him, and on the opposite side, who have they got?
Paul Alamonte.
Paul Alamonte. Both of them will probably get through a decent meterage. I'm expecting Casey McLean, after being dropped, would probably try to show, Ivan, that I'm good enough to get back into that jersey. So if I was an owner right now, I'd be holding him until Brian Toto is fit and ready, and then probably looking at moving on. And I think he'll end up getting a little bit of a price increase, probably get up to that 500K range, and you could probably move him on there.
Do you think he's better suited, especially Supercoach-wise, on the wing than he was playing center?
Yeah, 100%. I think he'll get those run meterage stats from the wing, and predominantly center as a position for Supercoach doesn't always bode well for Supercoach scores due to you see players like Katoni Staggs, that people want him to touch the ball more, but as a center, sometimes you can't really take the game by the scruff of the neck due to you got to keep your width, you got to keep your shape with you. Stephen Crichton's the type of player that is such a good center, but it doesn't always turn into Supercoach points. Where wingers, they get their hands on the ball a little bit more. They're a little bit more important out of the back end these days. So they get your post-contact meters, stuff like that. And that usually equals Supercoach points and good base. So I think better winner.
Yeah. And I think because especially the centers aren't getting the try assist for the tip on last pass to wingers anymore. It's the fullback or the half that is two passes
Under
in that's getting the
sweeps.
try assist. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think having centers is a bit of a in the past. It's mostly got to be wingers that fill out your center wing options there.
100%.
Casey McLean over Trindle for this week. I'm saying yes. I feel like Casey McLean has the ability to go 80 plus because he'll get a try, maybe two. And I'm tipping the Panthers to really stick it to the Cowboys. The Cowboys aren't desperate for a win now. They got their relief on the weekend, and the Panthers are desperate for a win. And I think they're
Yeah.
going to go pretty big win. And surely you'll see Casey McLean with a try, line break, all those bells and whistles.
Yeah, definitely will be looking that way, Jose, as well. Trindle's got the ability. It's just that he's very, like, I feel like the safer play is Casey McLean. If you really believing in Trindle coming into this weekend and gets the Raiders, that's going to make it really tough. Like, it's really up to you, but I think the safer play is Casey McLean because, as you said, he's probably going to base and consistently, like, it's going to hold that, 40 to 50 point. Trindle can go for a 20, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to see it. Yeah.
And to answer your question, I do have Casey McLean, Hosier, and I did trade him out this week, and then I've figured that I'll trade him back in. I think that he will grow on that wing a lot more. Just relaying what Ash said basically about wingers scoring better, and I think he's going to be better suited to that wing position. But I will be looking to upgrade him very shortly. It's just not high on my priority list, and I don't want to use a boost trade this week. So
Joshua Hill's really driving home this one. Shout out to Joshy boy. Brody, if you weren't a Doggies fan, looking to the near future, 4 weeks out, 4 weeks out of Sharp or Hopewadi, who are you bringing in?
are they both around the same price off the top of your head, Ash? Because I think Lehigh has so much more upside now that he is playing fullback as well, that Turbo's out.
Pretty sure Lehigh's at like 500k range.
Yeah.
And Sharp, I'm pretty sure Sharp's around that 5 to 6.
I don't even know how well Fletcher's been scoring this year, to be honest. I haven't really kept tabs on him.
Fletcher Sharp, 652k. Lehigh Boade, 585k. Fletcher started the season 83 against West Tigers, 82 against the Dolphins, 54 against the Gold Coast Titans in a real poor game. So a decent scoreage there.
The Knights did start well, though, this season, and I think they're going to start seeing them taper off. And I think that Manly, especially Lehigh, moving to that fullback role, he works endlessly to get base stats. If we can see him on the back of a try, of a line break and scoring a try or setting up a trial too, I think he's got more upside. I think the Knights are heavily dominated by Kalen Ponga with the ball in hand. So for me, I'd be going with Lehigh. I think he's got more upside. I think you will see Sharp maybe taper in cash a little bit. He's still pretty high on price from playing wing towards the back end of last year and scoring a lot of good scores, getting tries on the wing. Would you agree? And I think Lehigh's priced nicely to make you some cash. But what's your thoughts there?
I'll add a couple of things to this, right? So Lehigh started the season on the wing, 66. He got his game at fullback because Tommy pulled out for the Canberra Raiders game. So he had a full game at fullback there. Got 35 against the Raiders at 4 points. And then went to 89 to finish out, obviously, to finish out the game at fullback there at Parramatta. His next upcoming matchups, obviously tonight he's got the Melbourne Storm, which is a tough matchup. Then he's got the Sharks. And I'm guessing that's at Shark Park. And then he's got St. George at 4 Pines and then Penrith.
With that said, though, actually, bro, now that you mention it, he scored that try before Tommy went off on the weekend.
Yeah.
On the wing. He scored it on the wing.
Pass.
So
yeah,
maybe he won't be too effective at fullback. But Canberra really did stick it to Manly in that game. So.
And then over to Fletcher Sharp's run, bro. He's got you guys, but then he's got the West Tigers, the Sharks, the Warriors, Souths, and Gold Coast.
He might have an easier run, Josh, but I just feel like his price is a bit up there to the point where he might taper in cash. But if you're looking a bit more longer term and not worrying about making cash on him, then maybe Sharp might be your play for scores.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to make some cash as well to get some decent scores, I think Hopewadi might be a go. But
yeah,
I like it. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great question, bro. For me, out of those two, just looking at it off face value, I want to echo all your points. the way I'm sort of playing it this year, I would probably go, if you got the money, go Fletcher. And he's also got they both got the center wing duel. But if you want to go for a guy that I think what is probably playing in the higher attacking upside sort of side, right? With the Manly Seagulls, I think they're the best attacking side of the competition right now, statistically. And put Lehigh out back, he's probably going to find himself in some really nice attacking positions. So if you want to figure out that way, it's a bit more of a longer term play. But then you got Tom Trbojevic coming back soon, where Fletcher Sharp's going to be pretty much going to be scoring well for a longer period of time. So, weigh up your options there.
Yeah, but even Lehigh backs or wing scores pretty well. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Is Fletcher 5'8" dual or fullback dual?
Fullback dual.
Which is strange.
No, 5'8" dual. Sorry, 5'8" dual.
Okay. Well, yeah, it depends, I guess, as well. If you're looking to maybe keep them in a 5'8" role or in a fullback role, they're very similar in your choice, I guess. But yeah, I think maybe Sharp's got the easiest run coming up and a bit more known, I guess, in his position. So less risk, maybe.
So you're saying he can go for Ketty up to Sharp? Reason why I'm asking.
Okay.
If you can do that, I reckon go Sharp. I reckon go Sharp. 5'8", he can cover that position well. If you want to drop into a center wing, fullback wise, I wouldn't be looking at holding Lehigh at fullback. You'd be running him mostly at center wing. So
yeah,
I like other center wings probably a little bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Hosier, great question, brother. Yeah, yep. Latrell's too expensive for both mine and Ash's tastes for this return in his return game. And as Ash just touched on before, him in the center, you won't see him get hands on ball as much. He might score more tries in the center, but you're going to lose that try assist ability that he has because, as we touched on, centers don't really get credited for the try assist. It's more the pass that's won back in. So that's probably the only reason. And I expect him to come down in cash. I really do. But if he doesn't, crazy. But I expect him to, and then I might grab him then. But if he's fit and firing as well, you got to consider Origin coming up. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. I think that moving to center, he's going to get envisioning. I think he'll get a little bit of lower Supercoach calls to start off with, and then he'll end up growing a little bit later. So you probably should get him on a decent sum after probably 3 weeks' time. You also got to run into the stories of how long does Jai Gray stay at fullback, all that sort of stuff. So continue to look out on that. But I'm right there with you. I think it's a bit too expensive at the moment. 866K or 886K is one of those two numbers there.
Something high.
Either way, that's for me, it's pretty high at the moment. And
if he got a dual, if he got that dual center and then moved back to fullback, happy fucking days, especially if he dropped in price.
And as you said before, he keeps goal kicking as well. So I don't think he'll dip too much in price. But yeah, there's still time like that. He can dip to probably about 650, 700s. That's where I'll be looking at picking him up mainly. And Tyrone Blake, shout out to Tyrone. Sharks and Manly is in Perth. So yeah, want to fix up from what I had before. It's not Shark Park. It is in Perth. As a Sharkies fan, definitely clued on there.
Corrected quickly on that one.
Yeah, bro. He's a footy head. You know this.
Yeah, fucking oath. And who's tonight's game anyway? Sharks Raiders.
Yep, Sharks Raiders at GIO.
We need to start looking into. I don't know if we've had too many good scores on the Thursday night Supercoach wise.
Never happens, bro. I remember that many times. There's never been a time I've put a captain on a Thursday night and it's ever gone well.
Well, yeah, he probably wouldn't, I guess, with the vice captain loop option. But you're right. Yeah. I'm a little bit worried about the Cleary. You're making me worried about the Cleary move, but I think Cleary's going to take it personally. Yeah,
that's the thing. Is I remember in those times where Nico Hines just was going 130s. He's had Thursday night games where I'll be like, oh, he's easily going to pump out 130, put him a captain, and just been like a 60. Some reason Thursdays just suck.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just, it's not weekend mode. I guess they can't get pissed after the game, so they're not too excited to play footy or something. I don't know.
Could be that. Tyrone coming back to Aden is captain tonight for him.
Aden's a bitch. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But he was on the weekend just gone. He was on the weekend just gone.
Yeah, being Brodie's egg of the week. But thank you guys so much. Oh, quickly, what have we got here?
Yeah, we got anything
before we jump?
else? No.
I was actually looking for any CT dub under 655. If you have any recommendations, I have Furmore, Dewey, Shibasaki, and as my high price CT dubs. The Furmore one, you can play around with Furmore quite a bit.
Me and Ash are struggling with center wings this year, but
Yeah,
I think everybody is. Unless you got a Garrick, and even Garrick, he got 61 on the weekend, and he's a high price. There's a lot of inconsistency. Like, Lomax was a go-to last year. Holmes was a go-to last year. Those guys are pretty iffy to touch this year, in my opinion. Brian Toto's got the injury concerns. He was a go-to. Joey Manu was a go-to. He's gone. You got all these guys that it's just not so clear-cut this year in the center wing. So I think just do what you're doing, brother, and stick into the cheaper options and invest your money somewhere else and just wait for the season to really settle itself out before you start loading up for center wings. Like Asako's was my go-to, Greggy Marju, and Asako's really shit the bed a little bit. Marju's doing well. But would you agree on all that? Like a lot of those guys that we're used to seeing score really well have struggled this year to start the year in Supercoach. So stick to what you're doing there, brother. I think just stick to making that money.
Yeah, our usual Supercoach guns in the center wing either come into the season with injuries or have been hampered by injury in any sort of way. Like I was looking at Bradie Best's score for 622. He's going against your doggies this week, and I think that's a tough test. But before that, he scored a 99 against the Dolphins, 109 against the Gold Coast Titans. But before that, he's had scores where he goes to like a 40 or a 30. I've seen that out of him before. He's never been a Supercoach play for me, but I've seen people jump on him at times.
And you normally run in Marju, like me and you run Marju instead. So you don't really want to run KP, Marju, and Best. So, tough there.
Tough there. Nwanga Nituase scored 71 over the weekend. He's shown ability, but he's still a guy that I probably wouldn't have just yet. Just want to see consistent games out of him. Looking at other lists, you have Bronson Sherry at 562. He had a 99. But before that, we were discussing that he just wasn't getting Supercoach scores to start the season, but he's starting to get them now.
Well, it's a bit like Garrick. You traded out Garrick and he had a good week. I traded out Bronson Sherry and he had a fucking good week. So it's very tough. It's very inconsistent this year in the center wings. And normally me and Ash like to go cheaper in the front rowers because, you get a decent score there. But we've kind of switched it this year and gone a bit harder and higher price in the front rowers because they've been consistently scoring well. Whereas like the center wings, we've gone cheaper to make our cash that way due to those guys struggling to find consistency. So like Jesse Arthurs is top 10 scorer, and that's why he's at the price he's at. But we're just seeing what he produced on last week. So, yeah, it's tough, brother. It really is.
There's a guy I'm watching for at the moment that I've got an eye on because he is going to get pretty cheap if he continues to score the way he is. And there's the ability that with Nathan Cleary, it's Isaac Tungo. With Nathan Cleary being in half, he's been on that same side of the field. If Nathan Cleary stays healthy, he scores well. If he's not healthy and he's not there, he's not going to score well. Start of the season, he scored 57. And then with all the little things going around, got 30, 36, 26. He's at 429. He could get to like 380s sometime soon. He could be a play to shoot up if Cleary is playing consistent footy. I think that's a guy to watch out for.
Yeah, he would be a good pickup if he hit that 300, but he's not really a big try scoring option. And I really feel like centers have been handicapped this year due to that try assist thing. I don't know if they've changed it or if it's always been that way, but we don't see them get credited for the try assist. Hammer was another one last year that you could pick at center and he would score well. And Herbie's just a little bit too much, but yeah, I don't know.
Looking at the other options, like Selwyn Cobbo's had a shocker to start the season, Supercoach wise. He's not really having any base to him, even when he's having some scoring moments as well. It's pretty dire out here if you want like a really good gun option. Like there's a lot of options here that have ability, but I think it's a closer pack instead of just saying like these are certain names that are scoring really well. So at the moment, just continue on the track as Brodie said, and continue to see whether like the Supercoach land will become flat soon, and we'll get to see everything and see who's looking the goods. So just keep an eye out there. Yeah, but as I said, Isaac Tungo's keeping my eye at the moment because he is getting very cheap for a guy that could go bang and get those 100 scores like he did last year. So keep an eye out there.
I agree, brother. I agree.
All right, bro. I think that's us. Anything more you want to touch on before we jump off?
Nah, bro, unless anybody else said anything in the chat. Savage, nah, I wouldn't touch Savage. Dommy Young, if the Roosters get going when Sammy Walker's back, definitely. But yeah, Savage, nah, I wouldn't touch Savage.
McGrath Dogs got a big D. I think that's probably where we're going to leave this show.
And it just got R-rated.
Now, shout out to you guys. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend of footy. Hope your Supercoach teams go absolutely bang. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in for the show tonight. So sorry again for the quality and all that. You know, started off a little bit rocky. You know, the camera didn't really work out on Brodie's end of things too, but we'll figure all that stuff out. So, guys, make sure you tune in next week. We'll fix up a lot of these things. But John Yusuf, why do people put the players with later games on the bench?
I don't know. I don't think that's is that too much of a thing? I don't really look at it that way. I kind of just put my most expensive players on the run on.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Scorers, the
and
best
Josh,
point scorers I've got.
I'll post the link, brother.
Shout out to 90 fans. All right, guys, enjoy your night. Take it easy. Enjoy the footy. Later. See you next week.